Hello everyone, this is just a quick video for some people that are unsure how to set up fuel tanks for jets. You can also use a similar steps or processes for gas planes, petrol planes. That's just some thin galvanized wire. I use this to tie down the fuel tubing to the brass. I wrap it around a drill bit, wrap it around 2 times, give it a twist. There's no need for fancy tools doing this. You'll see here I've just done the one I've just realised, so I'll unwrap it and wrap it around 2 times. Like I said, there's no need for fancy tools. All you need is a good pair of side cutters and a pair of needle nose pointy pliers, and yeah, so just have whatever you need, twist them around the drill bit, slide them onto the fuel tube to the where it needs to clamp down. Just get your pointy pliers. I give them a little bit of a pull and a twist, so just twist it all to where it pinches the fuel tube onto the brass. Then just with the side cutters, clip it off, and then just use the pointy pliers again just to bend over that little bit of sharp bit of wire that's extended. You bend it down over itself, and it's as simple as that. Nice, easy, real quick, and no need for any expensive tools. I'll just go along with the video, and I'll just chime in every now and then and explain what's going on. So just here, I've just put a bit of brass tubing in between. I don't want the fuel clunk to fold back on itself. This way it's got flexibility from the pickup. The brass tube keeps it straight, it won't fold back on itself or get hung up anywhere. And that way, for me, that's how I've done all my fuel tanks in my jets, and I've never ever 100% had any problem once at all. Let's just keep watching. The brass tubing I'm using is not what comes with the Dubro fuel tank kits. It's a high flow kit I found that a guy sells, so I've bought a few kits off him, fittings off him I should say. It's a 4mm OD brass tubing with a 2.8mm in-terminal diameter ID. So the brass tube itself has a 0.6mm thickness on the wall. I try and get the biggest tube I can get to fit through that bung, so that way I can get the least amount of resistance to make it easier on the pump to draw the fuel out in the setup and the fuel system. Least resistance for me, my thought process is least resistance makes it easier on the pump and just makes it easier on the whole fuel system to deliver the fuel to the turbine. And I just went outside and had a look at that wire that I used to tie up the fuel tubing to the brass tubes. It's 0.58mm thickness or 24 gauge wire. I also find that trying to pass the brass tube through those bungs can be really hard, so I use a little bit of Vaseline and just trying to make it a bit easier to assist or make it less resistance, just trying to help it all pass through. So I'm only dry fitting the fuel tank together at the moment. I'm just double checking to make sure the length of fuel tube is the right length, so it doesn't, the fuel clunk doesn't get caught or hung up at the back of the tank. That's one thing you really need to make sure, that it just does not get caught. Once you can confirm this, you can see that it's free to move around the entire perimeter of the bottom of the tank. I remove the bung again and then slide up those bits of wire onto the brass tube, and again just use, I always use two just to be sure, just to be safe. And now we can fit it up to the tank and seal it all up. We're about to close it up now for the final time. I've put a bit of Tygon tubing on the vent pipe, because when you fit it in, as you can see I'm doing in the video, I'm twisting the bung onto the tank. It's easy to lose or identify which one's the pickup and which one's the vent. With a bit of Tygon tubing, I know it's the vent pipe. Just using the pointy pliers to bend the vent pipe so the vent is pointing to the top of the tank. I think I may have a torch, or there is a torch in the background, but I do use a torch to just to verify it's pointing up. And once you can confirm that, I didn't use a Phillips head screw, I removed that and I used a what would you call it, a hex, like a little hex bolt, 3mm hex bolt. I prefer these. That's just my own personal preference, you don't have to use it. But that's pretty much it, that sums it up. That's how I put a tank together. It's the right way, the wrong way, it's up to you to decide. You can see that it's a nice flush fit. There's plenty of brass on the outside of the tank to get the vent pipe and pick up fuel tubing onto it. And that is how I assemble my tanks, and like I said, I've never had an issue and I've never had a problem. Thanks for watching.